Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this stupendous Sunday. That's it, baby. It's Sunday. Is Sunday like the first day of the week or the last day of the week? I think officially it's like the first day of the week. It's Sunday. Who cares? But look, we're going to have a quick chat about Jay Slater before we head later on into a live where we will look at all of the stuff around the case, the lunacy, the stupidity, the more serious things around it. And because there's a lot. There's a lot, and there's some things in the Jay Slater case that makes us question humanity. What is the world turning into when we can look at a young lad who has gone missing and turn it into memes?
Where the fuck is everyone?
Yeah, that's right, turning it into memes. This is serious. This is serious stuff. This is very serious. But anyway, let's get straight into it because, look, I was looking at some stuff and it was talking to a guy who had been around this island for some years. And he was talking about how the drug trafficking, how this kind of industry works around Tenerife. And it gave an insight into really what I consider at this time to be the most likely scenario in the Jay Slater disappearance. Because, look, what I will say is I don't feel that certain things make sense. I don't believe that this lad would go to this place, sort of 11-hour walk away. It's an hour's drive, 11-hour walk from where he was, just for no apparent reason, to go in the arse end of the back and beyond, and then decide to leave there and then walk back with no water. His phone's fucking dead, and you know these messages saying, "Oh, I don't want to go back to this house." Nothing. It don't seem true to me. It don't seem true, but there are elements of that story. If you look at the bigger picture, you could kind of consider why he could have ended up at this house. And that's what this bloke is talking about. He's talking about the fact that you've got the Moroccans who basically are the ones who control the influx of narcotics onto the island of Tenerife. And they come over and they kind of manage things. They get people like girls to recruit boys to distribute narcotics around these events. We know the New Rave Generation event would have been a big pull, big money maker. You can't deny that. It's undeniable. And also we know that Jay Slater in this case has connections to the narcotics world. Even one of the guys who was apparently one of the very last people to see Jay Slater alive was a known narcotics distributor. He had been imprisoned. He'd got a 9-month sentence for transporting narcotics from London to Wales. I think he'd done approximately 5 years. And what did he do? Did he come out and did he become an absolute angel, never to touch that industry again? Now, he could have, but on the grander scheme of things, you've got a guy he's got that background and he's got this property that is in the arse end of the back and beyond, and he's around there at a time when it would have been probably one of the biggest yearly events that would have been a moneymaker for that industry. So what could have happened? This bloke talks about the fact that Jay Slater could have been recruited to distribute narcotics around this event. He would have been given the promise that you make a few bucks, you make some money. Do you know what I mean? You pay for your trip, you pay for your flight, you pay for your accommodation, you get some money in your back burner, and it's cool. You know, people all to look up to you. You'll be known as the man. You'll be known as a man. He's the go-to man. But as the night progresses, and you've got a 19-year-old who's got this thing in his pocket, and he's walking around getting more and more fucked as the night goes on. Never get high on your own supply, they say, but some people just do. He gets in debt. He basically gets in debt. And at some point, he is then told that he has got this debt to pay back. And this debt could have been made quite a vast sum more than what it would have been. Do you know what I mean? You lose £200 worth of stuff, but you need to pay 30 grand back because you've let us down. And then he gets taken from the event and ends up at this rural property in the hope that somebody will pay that money, whether someone contacts family or friends and say, look, you want your mate back, you've got to give us this. The downside is this now becomes a national spectacle. The whole world is watching, and you've got a group of people who are like, now we've got a problem because we've now got this kid and we've got everyone looking at us. And that is when this bloke turned around and said, that is likely when the decision is made to take this boy on this boat. Now, that bloke, Ayub, whatever his name is, say he came here alive and he left there alive. He left here alive. He may not have been lying then. He may not have been lying. But it doesn't mean that after he let him leave to seemingly say, no, you're right, mate, you go. They then let him contact and let him tell people he is leaving there and he is walking away. And then they go back and get him. They go back and grab him, and then he is never seen again. Perhaps he is put upon a boat. He is taken out to the sea, never to be seen again, as these gangs do not want what potentially this case can bring down upon their heads. And that, to me, I'm sad to say, seems like the most likely scenario. You've got Jay's uncle who has recently gone out there, and he is saying, you know, they have looked all over this area. The area with which Jay left and walked, they have walked it. They've had drones up there. They've had helicopters over there. They've had dogs over there. They've had the cops all up there. And they have looked. Now, Jay, on foot, in a pair of shorts and T-shirt, wouldn't have been able to get that far. He wouldn't have been able to go in certain terrain because the terrain simply wouldn't have let him. It would have been too difficult. And you have to then consider, is Jay that stupid that he would have gone completely off-road and started going through the bush and undergrowth and stuff like that? I don't think he would. I think he would have walked the well-trodden path, if that makes sense. So with respect to people trying to recover his tracks, I think they'd have found something by now. The fact that they believe that his phone was potentially thrown, that is a good possibility. He goes to this property, they let him leave. They go back to him, they get his phone, and they throw his phone. And so I've kind of succumbed to the idea that perhaps the throwing the phone was something that could have potentially happened. They then take him, and the rest is history. Because I just feel that if Jay would have walked from that property in the way that which we have been led to believe is how that happened, I believe Jay would have been found. I do believe he would have been found. Now, I don't know whether the family, underneath all of the bullshit, they believe that there's a potential that someone could have reached out to them, whether it was privately and said, look, your son owes us some money, get that GoFundMe money to us when that reaches a certain amount and you can have your son back. And maybe that is where there has been a reluctance to spend that, even as far as spending their own money out of their own pockets rather than dipping into the GoFundMe. You know, I do think that there's perhaps a conversation there. They know what their son is like. And we talk about unconditional love, and I said the other day, you can love your son even if he's a prick. And I'm not saying he's a prick, but what I am saying is I believe the family could potentially believe that their son is being held or was being held somewhere, and that GoFundMe just could have been the get out of jail free card. But as time has sadly progressed, I think that ship quite literally has well and truly sailed. But let me know what you think down below. What's your straight up theory? You know, spitballing, speculating. That was like spec-balling. Made up a new word. Anyway, I'll catch you all tonight in the live. See you then.